Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be back with you today. My name is Janice, the host of Stories That Inspire Us. And of course, we are simulcasting through the Wisdom Audio app. That is my preferred method of audio social media. Of course, I have an amazing guest on today, but before I formally introduce her, I want to let you know that Lauren and I are in somewhat the same entrepreneurship journey. And I had an interesting question the other day, and it was, why would you choose someone to be on your podcast who's basically in the same field as you are? And we'll get into that later, but I wanted to kind of put that out there because we have a little shameless plug going on here. And let me just say, I'll have what she's having. Without further ado, I am so excited to welcome to the Stories podcast, the one, the only, the amazing Lauren Litt. Lauren, welcome to the Stories podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just like all butterflies and excited to be here. So thank you. Thank you, Janice.
You are so welcome. And she's absolutely adorable. So you'll just have to go to at some point, YouTube or wherever you listen, view your videos. And of course, you can see the amazing Lauren. Now, Lauren is the owner and lead social media manager of A Lil Shameless Plug, which is a social media management company dedicated to the curation and creation of quality content for the creative entrepreneur. And that's why I said I'll have what she's having.
Yes. We speak the same language.
Yes, we do. So I have so many questions that are like popping through my head all at once, but I really want to give the backdrop of your story as to where you were in your journey and what led you to A Lil Shameless Plug.
I mean, are we all ready to go back 10 years? Okay, good. We're going to hit the time machine button. We're going to go back 10 years. I was waiting tables at a diner, and I was pretty done with serving in general. Serving, I'm also an actor. And so being a waitress was like the job that you did as an actor, because you're like, yeah, the joke in Hollywood is I'm also an actor, as you're like delivering people's food. But I just felt like I wasn't using any of my gifts. I was just kind of like taking orders, going through the motions. The serving industry is really, you're up really late, you're drinking afterwards because, you're like tired and like kind of buzzing still. And then it's just this cycle that I just didn't like being in anymore. And I got fired. I got fired from my serving job. And the day I was fired, I lived walking distance to my apartment. So I walked home. And when I got home, I took off those super ugly serving shoes that we wear. They're like very sturdy and couldn't last through everything. And I threw them in the trash. And I made myself a promise that I would never again trade my time for just dollars, that I needed to be doing something worthwhile in the world. And it took me a while, but I eventually found out that the way that I can use my own set of gifts is by helping uplift others on social media. I have a knack for figuring out how this, all of these social platforms work. And I am fascinated by the back end and the numbers. And I love helping other people see what an amazing platform this is to share your message, because the world is really hurting right now. And so the more people, the number one thing that you have to be doing in order to work with me over A Lil Shameless Plug is you have to be doing something good in the world. Whether that's my client, Bob, who sells olive oils and vinegars and helps people have a more healthy diet, or one of my clients this past year was a woman who helps women in traditionally male environments, how they can actually stand up and use their voice and feel seen and heard. So whatever you're doing in the world, you just got to be doing something good in order to work with us.
Wow. I love that. You have to be doing something good in the world to work with your company, because that really, I don't want to say sets the standard, but you're living true to your mission for your business on not just trading your time for money, but doing good in the world.
Yeah.
How long has Lil Shameless Plug, been in
In the
business?
world. Yeah.
Oh,
So I was fired in, I think, like, when was I fired? 2012, I think. And it took me a while. It took me a good while to figure out what was going to happen. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and they have a wonderful program that is for female entrepreneurship that is run by the city of Van Nuys. And so I went and I took all these classes and figured it out. And it was probably, I like to say 2013, 2014, I was like officially in business. I actually found a very old version of my logo from like 2011 when I was looking through my computer the other day. But I think, like, we'll say, yeah, 2013, we were officially in business. So we are coming up on 10 years.
wow, that's amazing. And I want to ask this, but I want to ask it in a very kind of funny way.
Okay.
Um, I think we've all been fired at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Um, I was laid off at my job like 4 years ago, whatever it was, which really prompted me to, obviously get off my ass and start my business. I don't know if I'm supposed to swear, but whatever.
We'll be fine.
We'll be fine. And it's those type of things that really propel us forward, even though we may not know it at the time, to do something that we never expected. I never expected to start a third podcast.
Yeah.
What would you say on that walk home before you threw those shoes away? Did you see it as a maybe get an unwrapped gift, or were you like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, what
I
was
was
your emotion?
furious. I was furious. I was absolutely furious because I was a really good server. I was like a really, really good server because I have that deeply ingrained, my father's from the South. So like I have that deeply ingrained Southern girl, like have to please deep, deep in my soul. Like I am a great hostess if you come to my house, which means if you sat at one of my tables, I was a really good server. And, you know, politics of restaurant work, whatever, I just didn't play the game. I wasn't doing all of the things. So I was like, and now I'm in my memory. It's like, maybe it was raining too. I don't know why it would rain in LA, but in my memory, all of a sudden it's raining, but I'm walking. I just remember being so angry. And I think that was also kind of what spurred it was I'm doing such a good job, and I am doing all of these things here and you're not even acknowledging. And so I think that's also for my own, I'm so lucky that I get to employ people. That's one of the big joys of working and having my own business is that I get to employ people. And I don't ever want my employees to feel like I don't recognize their genius and I don't recognize that they are, here trading their time for dollars. And so I want to make sure that they are using their own special gifts as much as possible.
Wow, that is so profound because you don't hear of a business. I've never heard of a business owner say that.
Oh, well, can we all start saying that then?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Now, my goal, of course, at some point is to hire a few people. That's on the radar, of course. But that is so true, to value those who are helping you with your business because they are trading time for money. What was that point when you were in your business and you got to that point where, oh, I need to hire some people? Was
Yeah.
that a scramble for you?
It was a little bit. So I tried, I had a couple friends that I was like, hey, would you want to help me out? When we started down that road. And then it became very clear that I needed to actually have an employee. I couldn't just be like, hey, Amy, can you spend 2 hours a week doing this for me? And so I actually started by, I'm going to do a little shameless plug for another company here. Onlinejobs.ph. My very first employee actually is still with me. Her name is Geraldine. She is a wonder. And she saw in Lil Shameless Plug what I didn't see. She was always pushing me forward because she saw like, oh no, you need more help. We need more things. We need more stuff. And she started as someone who helped me source content for social media. And now she's an SEO specialist on our team because that was really where her brilliance was and where she wanted to be. So my desk used to be in our walk-in closet in our little 650 square foot apartment when we lived in LA. And so when I hired her, I was like sitting at my desk in my closet being like, this is going to be great. I promise, So, but she saw it and she believed, and she's done so much hard work. And I feel so happy knowing that she's now in a space in doing work that she loves.
And that's really what it is all about, not only the curation and the creation in your business, but also bringing that out within your employees. How many employees do you currently have?
I think I have 9. Not everybody's full-time. I think I have 5 full-time and the rest are part-time.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, I want to just go back a little bit. Obviously, we're talking about business and employees and, obviously social media. What have you found is your favorite social media, and why would that be?
It's changed over the years. So my first love was Twitter. I really, really love Twitter. And I still love Twitter for the fact that I think the barrier is lowest on Twitter in order to actually get in conversations with other people. For so many of the other platforms, you got to like the page and then you got to see if they're going to respond. And then maybe you're hidden in the DMs or, their Facebook page, they don't actually check it very often, or in LinkedIn, they're not there. So Twitter, I've always found like this immediate connection back and forth, which is really great. It has changed over the years, and especially in the current climate where we're like, who's owning Twitter? What's the rules of Twitter? How many bots are on? Like, I'm not touching Twitter right now. I'm just kind of letting it be. So my current hero platform, I call it the hero platform, the one that you're spending the majority of your time on, is Instagram.
Wow. Okay. What do you love about Instagram?
Awkward silence. Um, you know, I think that the reason it's my hero platform isn't really because I love it. It's because that's where my target audience is. And so, I'm an actress by trade. So for me, it's super easy to jump on lives, to do video content, and Twitter, or not, sorry, not Twitter, also not LinkedIn, Instagram very much lends itself to that. So it's really easy for me to jump on and just kind of connect with people in that way.
Okay, that is awesome. Now, when you say your target audience, now that's kind of important when you work with your clients. What has been like one thing that your clients have asked you that you kind of like sat back for a moment and went, how am I going to answer that one?
Oh, good question. Um, I'm laughing because one of my early clients slash friends, she'd always be like, okay, so how do we go viral? Like, there's no formula for that. There's not, like make good content and cross your fingers and hope. Most of the time when people are first coming to me, the question I love to ask people is, why social media? Like in 1 year, what is social media doing for your business? And most often people are not saying, oh, well, in 1 year, I hope I have 100,000 followers, because that's not actually a real business goal. When we're actually talking about how can we make this affect your business, primarily I hear, I would really love to build community. I would like to be able to talk to people. I would love to be able to book clients, through a platform. And when we start there, it's really easy to realign people with what's actually going to move the needle for them, and not focus on the vanity metrics of like, well, I need this many followers, or I need this many likes, or I need this many views on my videos, because that passive action of following, liking, viewing isn't in alignment with a business goal.
I am so glad that you said that, because in the way that you put it, the vanity metrics, because for instance, on the Wisdom audio app, which I am currently simulcasting, I think I have 200, maybe up to 300, I'm not even sure. on Clubhouse, I have over 7,000. And one would look at that and say, oh my God, you have all these followers on Clubhouse. Well, that's not where it's at for me. For me, it's about connecting with like-minded people, like the engagement, the curation of the connection with that person. You know, I've met so many people, obviously through both different platforms, especially through Wisdom. A lot of my podcast guests have been from Wisdom. And for me, you know, when somebody asks me, hey, what do you think about this? I know you're a VA or, you know, creative project manager, podcast host. And of course, I want to answer their question because that's important to me to add that value to their lives. And, you know, spread the ripple effect. And that's where the connection comes in. And so back to the question that I initially asked before we started our conversation, that
I've
is
been waiting for this.
yeah, I've been kind of waiting to kind of tie it in a neat bow, other than, you know, this thing that's
The
around
cute
my,
little one, yeah.
I can swing it back and forth. But, you know, I digressed a little bit, sorry. And by the way, I just want to say a welcome again to all my amazing listeners on the Wisdom audio app. You know that this is my preferred audio platform. So thank you all so much for being here. And I see so many, excuse me, familiar names. And so back to the question. And the question was, why do I have people on that are in the same field as me? Because to specifically answer that, when you make the connection with somebody else in the same field as you, to me, that's what it's all about. What happens after that can be so many amazing things. And that's really how I have organically grown my business. So I know that there is a listener out there who's who asked me that question. And I thought it was a really important one.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the bottom line is, you know, we're all here to be creative, to do what we love to do, but do it in such a way that feels very comfortable, yet we are giving back. We are for a purpose. You know, obviously Stories That Inspire Us was inspired by my son. And, you know, what better way to give back? So thank you.
And if I may, just to that point, because I don't live in a world of scarcity. This is a little woo-woo, right? But like, I live in a world of abundance. And I know that we are all so uniquely different that you and I having a conversation, there are people who are going to be drawn to you and there's people who are going to be drawn to me, and there's enough for everyone. And I think that especially we're kind of past it, but as women, as women business owners, if we try and fight each other, that's not going to help anyone. You know, lifting each other up and yes-anding everything each of us does is the way we're going to find more success. So
I couldn't agree with you more. And it's really about, you know, supporting one another in such a way where, as you said, you know, people maybe different entrepreneurs in different, you know, business situations would prefer more of a media agency, whereas obviously I work one-on-one with different entrepreneurs. And, you know, excuse me, that's really what it's all about, making the connection, and everything else is, you know, is an added bonus, of course.
yes.
What would you say is one thing that a goal for your business that maybe it's not that you have not yet attained it, but like maybe it's this big goal that you want to attain? What would that be?
Okay. So, well, this is my secret dream. I would love, because my business has always been virtual. I've never lived in the same space with any of the people that I work with. We're only, you know, online. And there is a conference that happens every year in the spring in San Diego, California. And my dream is that the business is so healthy, I get to bring my entire team there, and we like set up in a house for a weekend, and we go to this social media conference, and we, like get to actually be in each other's presence. So that's when I know, so like Lil Shameless Plug will be really, really, really solid and clicking, is when we can do something like that together.
That is so exciting.
Isn't it fun?
Oh my God. Yeah, I want to go too. Maybe I'll just crash the party.
Yeah, totally. We'll have an extra couch.
So working with your different employees, are you all in different time zones?
Yeah. So we have East Coast and West Coast people here in America. And then, like I said, again, I'm going to plug onlinejobs. Or on .ph, that's onlinejobs.ph. I have, a couple people over there as well. So they are 12 hours opposite. So basically, like when we're sleeping, they're working, when we're working, they're sleeping, which is great for a social media company, because then you do have eyes, around the clock without anyone feeling like I have to do the midnight shift.
Right. And, those time zone calculators sometimes get me frazzled. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. Because I think one part of Australia is 12 hours ahead, but another part is 14.
Oh yeah. I frequently Google, what time is it in? And then
Yeah.
it'll just tell
Oh,
you. You're like, great.
I do that too. And, one of my clients way back when I first started out was in Australia, and she was 14 hours ahead. And sometimes I would be I'm up early anyways, typically by 4:30. So, we did I'd be sitting in my jammies, with the
Yeah.
camera off, I will add.
Yes.
Although once we got to know each other, I'm like, I would, of course, put the camera on, and I'm, all bundled up. My hair's like, but
First
that's
cup of
okay.
coffee. Yeah.
I'm actually on my second pumpkin, by the way. Pumpkin's legal now.
Yes, it is. We are there.
Yes. So in working with your business every day, do you have, you obviously you have a team, you have an SEO.
Yeah, we have a SEO department and then our social media department, because I found this is actually a recent change that we made starting the beginning of this year, is when I wanted to lean more into this, because SEO sounds real fancy, y'all, right? Like SEO, what is that? It's search engine optimization. And the secret about that is everything you do online is search engine optimization. If you're writing a blog, you're doing SEO. If you're doing social media, you're doing SEO. If you're researching back-end keywords, you're doing SEO. Like all of that is SEO. And so we found that this magical formula of at least 2 social media platforms, plus a newsletter with a recurring blog, and then the website, really making sure that that was online. Those were our customers who were really succeeding. And so that's my base platform right now. I'm like, if you want to work with me, these are the tools that we use, and we use them for every client we have.
How important would you say is keyword research in any entrepreneurship?
Everything is about keyword research. Like I said, SEO, you do it everywhere. So if you're on Instagram, for instance, or Facebook, since we're on your Facebook right now, and you are trying to, well, let's say, someone's looking for a VA, someone is looking for really specialized VA services. You have to think, okay, well, if I'm a business owner looking for specialized VA services, what search terms am I using? Put them in Facebook. What content is coming up? Like, are there certain lives that you can see, or certain groups that have a lot of engagement happening? Join those groups. Like it's all about being where your customer base is, and you can only do that by researching keywords.
And how important, like if somebody's on Facebook, of course, and I think we're all guilty of being in 5,000 Facebook groups.
So many groups.
Yeah, I've lost counts, and I'm just using that as a figure, of course. I'm sure it's a couple hundred. How can one, and obviously I'm always curating and going through that myself, like, okay, I haven't engaged in this group. How important is it to just stick with a few? Like, for instance, would you say to maybe a new client coming on, okay, you're in the health and wellness industry, and you're in these Facebook groups, start out with connecting and collaborating, like maybe in 5 groups.
Yes, consistency is key. So if you can only handle being in one group is great, because we get into that space of like, oh, I need all of the followers and all of the groups and all of the people. Well, no, like I like to say in my office here, on my last post that I put out, I think something, I don't know, like 40. I had 17 comments. I'll use that. I had 17 comments on my last post that went out. 17 people would be pretty uncomfortable in my room. These are human beings, right? How many clients do you need? My client roster is full for 2022, right? Like I don't need 18 million followers because I can't serve them. And I don't want to serve them. That's not the kind of business I want to build, right? We are a very specialized boutique business. I love spending time with my clients, and I don't want it to be more than that. And so if you really think of your business goals, if you're really thinking, especially a lot of people I work with are coaches, they coach through people through different things, and they don't need, most of them are capped out between 8 and 14 one-on-one clients. That's the maximum they can serve. So let's really focus on getting you 8 to 14 clients. That's easy. Well, not easy. It's
Right.
work, but
Thank you so much for saying that, because at the time when my son had his life-threatening injury last July, I think I may have told you this, I was
Yeah.
a week away from hitting my first 5-figure month.
Yeah.
And I had 8 or 9 clients at the time. And could I have taken more? I guess technically I could have, but it wouldn't have been right, because I'm all about loyalty. And when I work with a client, like I am a representative of their company on what they do and how they do their business. So that would not have reflected well on them, which
Mhm.
would have not reflected well on myself. So thank you so much for saying that.
Well, and this is why it's so great when women own businesses, because so my coach, Dallas Travers, she really emphasizes the importance of having a value-based business, having a business that's in alignment with what you want for your life. And so like you're saying, I had this client load. If I was just about the money, yeah, I could have shoved things in, but then because you're a woman, because you have a child, because you have a life outside and you wanted to serve people in different ways, you knew you couldn't do all of those things. So it's living in alignment with your values. And I think that's how we're going to change the world and like get rid of this hustle culture nonsense. I don't know about you, but I don't want to look back on my life and be like, I spent 60 hours a week in my office. Yay. Like,
No, I have a bucket list which is yet to be filled. But more importantly, with things the way they are today, I mean, I've got to tell you, from a personal standpoint, I am blessed and grateful that I am my own entrepreneur, because of course, with everything that has happened with my son, I don't have to answer to anybody. I answer to myself.
mhm.
And I'm always 2 weeks ahead. So if something should happen, I'm prepared, which leads me to the next question. Have you worked with any clients that, maybe something drastic has happened and it really, as a result of what had transpired for them, it really has revamped their business in such a way where they didn't realize? How important is that rebranding process? Like, what are some of the things in your mind that they should look at and focus on?
This is really great, because actually one of my clients, we were messaging via Slack the other day, and she was like, oh, well, if I had to do it all over again, I just rename my business this. And I was like, well, why aren't we doing that? There's literally no reason not to do it. And for me, her rebrand is coming from a space of she's really owning what she's doing in the world now. She had kind of hidden, because she's a coach. And so she'd hidden behind this like dual last name thing, being like, oh, well, maybe people will think there's lots of people here in my company, when she didn't need that. Like everyone is coming to her because of her. And so she's rebranding to her name, which I really think is fabulous. So that we are in the process of it. Like this literally happened last night, the night before. I don't know. This is in the process. So how we are viewing this is the opportunity to have her really step into that power. And that's how we're going to share this rebrand, across all of her platforms and on her website and all of that stuff.
And that is so exciting because of course I went through that, excuse me, within the last year. And for instance, choosing the colors, choosing the fonts. I'm not gonna lie, it was very overwhelming. But then it occurred to me that maybe I was putting too much pressure on myself. So I don't know how I did this. I can't explain it, but on my browser, every time I open up a new window, and I probably have about 5,000
Oh, so many.
tabs open.
Yeah.
I'm so bad. Plus, as a sidebar, I have like 6 or 7 different browsers.
I was going to
So
say, now that Chrome profile allows us to have different, like every time I have a client, I just open the new Chrome profile for them, and
yeah,
it's color coded to their brand. It makes me so happy.
I know, it's exciting.
It is.
But on the first one that's just called Janice, and there's Janice one, like I don't know how that happened, but it happened. But every time I'm in the Janice one, Janis, and I open up a new window, a new color palette comes out. So I'm like, oh, I like that. Let me download.
Yeah.
And then I would put them in this folder, and every week look at the different palettes I downloaded. And I'm like, well, let me fool around with this palette in Canva. But then it hit me. It hit me like a tidal wave. Someone said to me, my professional photo, which was this huge photo shoot I did, I was wearing a very dark navy blue. I'm not a navy blue person. I don't think navy blue looks well on me. But they said that color looked very nice for a mature individual such as I am, because I'm like way up there.
Yeah, we're so up there.
Whatever. And yes, I am 60, but so I thought about that, and I'm like, why am I not drawn to that color? And I'm like, something told me I needed to look into that color further. So I started searching out different palettes. And of course I found the one, and of course it had navy in it, but it was not a navy per se. It was like a shade off.
It's so funny you're saying that, because I recently worked with a branding specialist, and I'll never lose my logo because I love it. It's a little light bulb that's kind of smiling with a plug on it. I just think it's very clever. I've had it since, however, like I said, 2011 is when I grabbed that, but we were very colorful before. And when I was working with this branding specialist, I started leaning into the color purple, and I hate the color purple. I don't like it. I don't know why, but I was just, all of a sudden I was looking at, all of my clients and what they were doing and what they were seeing. And we came up with this very neutral monotone. It's different shades of purple. And that's our new brand. And like, we're redoing our website and because Tim in the company told me our website's trash and we have to redo it. And I was like, but Tim, it's not like affecting anything. He's like, no, this is too embarrassing. We can't have this as our website anymore. So, yeah. So same thing. It's the color that I was like, oh, I don't actually really love that color, but that's the one that when I really stepped back and saw what my clients were seeing and what looks well on me and everything, it's like, oh, this deep kind of plummy purple actually is the perfect color for us. So,
wow. And, as I'm looking at my cover photo on the Wisdom Audio app, to my listeners, thank you again so much. This is the photo that I am referring to. And by the way,
is it the one in your email as well?
Yes, it is. But I will tell you that they made me do my hair that way. I don't like that hairstyle on me whatsoever. So I don't like it. I don't like it. So my coach said to me the other day, well, why haven't you changed it? Like you said to your client the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess I
could. I am my own business owner. This is why I did this.
And that photo, by the way, was, I think I may have told you this too, was I had kind of put out my name on this, I don't know, came up through Facebook, need actors for, Netflix series and this
Oh,
and that.
that's
I'm like,
right.
oh, ha ha, I'm just going to put my name in. And I got a call from them. So I thought that was quite hysterical.
I
Little
mean,
side plug there.
yeah, your own little shameless plug, because you're a curly girl like me. You've got curly hair.
Yes and no. Yes, I do.
Wavy curly.
It's, I have very fine hair. So I put in just a little mousse when my hair is
Mhm.
really wet, and then I scrunch it up so that it looks like I have more hair than what I actually do.
Yeah.
So here's my shameless plug.
Yep, for your hair.
Hair. Like everyone needed to know that, right?
I mean,
Uh,
look, we can talk that we'll have another podcast, the Curly Girl podcast, and the struggles of wavy curlies.
I would love to do that for sure. Oh my God, this has been so amazing. Excuse me. Wisdom, we have time for one guest to come up. If you have some
Ooh.
questions for the amazing Lauren, we would love to have you come up. Or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, we would love to invite you. While we are waiting for someone to come up, sometimes I don't catch it because I'm
Yeah.
looking in a couple different places, but I promise you, if you hit that button, I will keep an eye out for it. What are some words of advice that you could give anyone right now who's just starting that entrepreneurship journey? As far as, obviously we've talked a lot about social media, but you did mention Slack.
Yes.
So my question for you is, what is your favorite go-to app? And if you had to start your business over again, what kind of apps would you be using or should be using?
Mm. Um, so I early on found Trello, which is a online project management software. I'm a visual learner, I'm a visual person, so it was really, really helpful to me. It also, until my team grew larger, was such a great free option. So whether it's Trello or Asana or Monday or any of the project management softwares on there, implementing something early on for yourself so that you are actually creating systems so you know which pieces to pass off as your team grows. That would be my number one thing. And number two is, it's going to take so much longer than you think it's going to take to start your business, to do anything in your business, right? It takes so much longer, but it will be so much better than you can imagine. So just stay the course. A lot of my clients will say, well, how does that person have that many views, or how does that person get that many comments? I'm saying, because they didn't stop. They found what they were doing. They test, they track, they change, they test, they track, they change, and they don't stop. Whatever you want in this life, you can have it. You just have to believe and continue on that path. So
Oh, thank you so much. That is such great advice. And of course I use, Trello for all of my three
joyful.
podcasts, and now have a really very, very specified, very detailed SOP on how I operate it. That is really key for me. And that did not happen overnight. That's been really a work in progress.
Yeah.
And back to what you said is that it doesn't happen overnight. When I grew my business to just about 5 figures last year, that had taken me about 3 years to get to that point. And of course, now I'm like redoing everything. But to me, that is what is in alignment. And I know with the clients that I currently have, for me, again, it goes back to connection, collaboration, and inspiration. So
Yes.
wow, this has been so amazing. I could talk like another few hours with
I
you.
know, we're having so much fun. And we knew we were going to have fun. We knew that.
We knew that because part of my process in podcasting and when I have guests on is to do pre-podcast chat. And I know that everybody does things differently. And this has really worked for me because it gives me the opportunity to meet them as well as my guests to meet me. I mean, if you met me and we were online, on our Zoom call and you're like, I don't really not jiving with her. Or maybe, someone thinks I'm an asshole, whatever, but
Never,
that's,
Janice. Yeah.
but it just, I think it makes the process for me very welcoming, and
Mhm.
I just love it. And
Well,
that's
absolutely. And it made this appointment on my calendar this week something I'm looking forward to, not something that I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. I've never met this person before. We're jumping in. It was like, oh yeah, I get to talk to Janice on Thursday. Yay.
Yeah,
So
I know. I've been so looking forward to this conversation. Now I have one more question for you. Will you definitely come back and visit me?
I would love to. I would love to. It's super fun.
Awesome. Awesome. Lauren, how can our viewers and listeners get in contact with you?
Oh yeah. So we are lilshamelessplug.com, LIL shameless plug. And if you want to join me over on Instagram on my hero platform, it's lauren.litt. That's Lauren, LAUREN .LITT. And yes, Litt is my real last name.
And that's not why she got fired, just saying.
True. It is not why I got fired. That is absolutely true.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to do the sign off on Wisdom, and then we'll, of course, do our formal sign off on Facebook. Again, I want to thank all my amazing listeners on Wisdom. I see so many familiar names. Thank you so much for being here. And you never know when I'm going to pop in. And actually, I will be on there tomorrow morning for the morning brief. Not sure exactly when, but remember, if you have a story to share, if you want to inspire, but you're not really sure how to go about it, send me a message. I would love to chat with you about being my guest on Stories That Inspire Us. Signing off for now on Wisdom. Thank you so much, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now. Wow, what an amazing podcast.
Yeah.
We all should be doing a Lil Shameless Plug with our businesses. And today was no different. Lauren and her team are so amazing. It was so amazing to work with her staff and who responded to my reminders. I'm all about the reminder emails. And whether you are working with an agency, whether you decide to start your own agency, have that conversation with Lauren. I'm sure that she can direct you in the right way. And just know again that if you have a story to share, it's that important. Today, I was inspired by the amazing Lauren Litt, Lil Shameless Plug. And remember, who knows what will happen in the future. And if you decide to do your own business, you can get it up and running. It does take hard work, but here we are, having amazing conversations. Lauren, thank you again so much.
Thank you, Janice. This has really, really been fun. And as I said at the very top, you shared your story with me and it is inspiring. And I'm so happy that you have this space to inspire others and that I got to be a very small part of it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Janice, the host of Stories That Inspire Us, and with the amazing Lauren Litt. And of course, I will make sure all of her information is in the show notes. We will see you again very soon. Thank you all. Bye for now.